Let's jump right into one of the most fascinating encounters in ancient history. We're talking about power, perception, and a massive reality check. In this explainer, we're unpacking the monumental journey of Queen Bilqis, the Queen of Sheba. Picture this. We're right at the exact moment of her highly anticipated arrival at Prophet Solomon's magnificent palace. I mean, here is a queen of immense wealth and influence stepping into a domain that is literally going to test everything she thought she knew about reality, power, and the universe itself. So you gotta ask yourself, what actually shakes the foundation of a powerful queen? It's a profound question, right? What does it take to completely dismantle the pride and the established worldview of a wealthy monarch who commands an entire nation of sun worshippers? She's seen wealth, she's seen massive armies, and she's definitely seen her fair share of worldly magic. And actually, before even making this journey, she meticulously consulted with her top ministers. Cautious, proud of her royal status, you know how it is. But as she approaches Solomon's palace, her true test is really just beginning. Because what she's about to face, it isn't a test of military might at all. It's a profound test of her intellect and her spirit.
Which brings us to part 1, where the ultimate test begins. Moving right into the second phase of this encounter, the crystal floor illusion.
Now, as she steps into Solomon's court, she realizes almost instantly that she is in an environment totally unlike anything she's ever seen. The court wasn't just pretty to look at, it was an architectural marvel specifically designed to challenge the senses. Imagine the absolute shock she feels here. She steps forward, fully expecting to wade into a pool of deep water. She even instinctively lifts her royal skirts so they won't get wet, only to realize, wait a second, she's walking on a flawless, solid crystal floor. It's brilliant. It perfectly illustrates the overarching theme of illusion. It shows us how easily human perception, yes, even the perception of a brilliant, powerful queen, can be utterly deceived by physical appearances. In a split second, all those prior consultations and strategic worldly plans start fading as she begins questioning everything else she held as true. And that perfectly sets up our third section, the miraculous throne. Okay, so once the physical shock of that crystal floor kind of starts to settle down, she's guided deeper inside this majestic palace. And right here is where the narrative totally shifts from a physical illusion to a massive intellectual shock. She looks up and she sees her own royal throne, sitting right there inside the palace. Imagine the sheer astonishment. Back in Sheba, her throne was her absolute most prized possession, locked away, heavily guarded by her most elite forces. Yet here it is, sitting right in front of her in Solomon's court, having been transported across a massive geographical distance in the blink of an eye, literally before she even arrived. This wasn't some cheap parlor trick, you guys. This was a direct, undeniable challenge to her entire understanding of the physical world. Instantly, she finds herself weighing worldly magic against divine power. Look, she was super familiar with the magic and the trickery of her era, but she recognized right away that this was entirely different. Moving a massive, heavily guarded throne across continents instantly, that is not ordinary magic. It was an undeniable, awe-inspiring demonstration of a God-given power granted specifically to Solomon. It was at this exact moment, staring at her own throne, that the true, staggering scale of Solomon's authority became crystal clear to her. This whole incredible series of events sparked a huge shift in her perception, broken down into 3 key realizations. First, the recognition of prophethood over kingship. See, Solomon didn't gloat. He welcomed her with immense dignity, respect, and grace. That made her realize he was a chosen prophet, not just some power-hungry conqueror. Second, the total destruction of her worldly pride. Her immense wealth and status suddenly felt, well, utterly insignificant in the face of this divine majesty. And third, she really began to see the fallacy of sun worship, a realization that would absolutely change her forever. This brings us to Section 4, Awakening to Divine Truth. Everything she knew had been thoroughly shaken. But here's the thing, it wasn't to humiliate her, it was to awaken her. These physical and intellectual shocks triggered a profound spiritual epiphany, the stunning realization that sun worship was merely a deception. For her entire life, her culture, her people, they all worshiped the sun as the ultimate source of power. But standing there in a kingdom gifted by an unseen creator, it clicked. The sun was just a creation. The true owner of the universe is the Lord who granted Solomon this magnificent kingdom, this incredible wisdom, and this miraculous power. The veil of deception was finally completely lifted from her eyes. Which leads us to our final section, a historic declaration. Her journey culminates in this incredibly beautiful verbal surrender that literally changed the course of history. Historical accounts actually record her exact words in this moment of realization. Translated into English, she basically says, "O Solomon, I have indeed wronged my soul, and I now submit, along with Solomon, to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds." Just what a powerful statement. She openly, bravely admits that by worshiping creations rather than the Creator, she had wronged her own soul. And with immense grace and humility, she doesn't just surrender to a king. She submits alongside the prophet to the ultimate Lord of all worlds. This was truly a complete journey from ignorance to divine guidance. So why does this matter to us today? Well, this story brilliantly illustrates that true understanding, true profound enlightenment, absolutely requires genuine humility. It requires the courage to just let go of our material pride, our preconceived notions, and our stubborn reliance on our own limited perceptions, just so we can recognize and accept a higher truth. The Queen of Sheba literally had everything a worldly person could ever desire, yet she chose to humble herself for the truth. She made this monumental decision, but you have to wonder, what happened next? Did her people, an entire nation of sun worshippers, actually follow the truth of their queen? And what profound advice did Prophet Solomon impart to her as she embarked on this completely new spiritual path? These are the fascinating questions that echo through history, really inviting us to keep questioning, keep learning, and keep seeking the truth.